joining us for another edition of Broncos Country Connected. Sunday afternoon, the Denver Broncos arrived at Heinz Field hoping to bounce back against the Steelers after a tough loss to another AFC North team the week before. Unfortunately, there were too many similarities between Week 4 and Week 5 to expect a different result. Offensively, penalties and inefficiency on third down proved costly to finding a rhythm throughout the first three quarters. Defensively, Steelers running back Najee Harris was a problem they just couldn't solve, while Big Ben had the explosive passing plays he needed to help his team snap a three-game slide. Here's a look back at how Sunday's matchup at Heinz Field unfolded.
Broncos today on the road at Heinz Field to face the Pittsburgh Steelers. Back when I played, the Steelers were the real deal. You go to the old Three Rivers and you knew you were in for a tough game. An important game, obviously, for both teams. Steelers trying to break that three-game losing streak. The Broncos would love to go to 4-1. You have an 81% chance to make the playoffs if you start the season with a 4-1 mark. This will be the 26th meeting between these two teams. The Broncos have fared pretty well against the Steelers. They're 15-9-1. They've dominated Pittsburgh in Denver, 9-3-1. And in Pittsburgh, they are 6-6 against the Steelers. Steelers dressed in their home black tops, gold pants trimmed in black.
Pittsburgh always been a really tough place to play. Fans waving their terrible towels.
Gordon makes one Steeler miss, a gain of 5.
Not a lot of room to run there. Nice pickup.
Roethlisberger pumps, plenty of time. Roethlisberger hit, ball is free. That was Malik Reed. Foot race, the rookie pulled down inside the 5-yard line. He's got something there. Cortland makes a leaping catch. Touchdown, Denver. Hinton gets both feet down at the 10. Oh, coming down to this, Bridgewater.
Now, thanks to FanDuel, Super Bowl 50 champion Ryan Harris is here to point out a couple of ways the Broncos can improve this week as they prepare for their first divisional matchup. Ryan, I mentioned earlier in the show that Najee Harris was a problem for the Denver Broncos. He had 23 carries for 122 yards, including this 20-yard run early in the second quarter. What went wrong defensively for the Denver Broncos?
Well, a couple of things are happening here. Defensively, Justin Strnad got a little bit out of place, as you'll see the play go on. But also Von Miller is going to come upfield, and he's really going to create an opening. But something else I wanted to show people, just so you know what offenses are looking at. Let's play the numbers game, right? Just pure numbers. As you draw a line down the hash mark right there, the short side of the field is up here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defenders up there. So already you're thinking a cutback if you're Najee Harris back here. So that means that Justin Strnad really has to play heavy, as they call it, on the backside because you've got so many numbers over there. But as you see the play begins, now all of a sudden Justin Strnad's going to take a step closer, now even closer there, and then gets to that hash. So by the time Najee Harris breaks it off to the opposite side, you have so many defenders for the Broncos on the opposite side of the field. That's pretty tough. Also, a little thing here. Von Miller's fantastic in all ways, right? Run game, pass game, Alexis. But one of the things he does, he often jumps outside of a tight end. But that's going to create a huge hole right here where he currently is. And because of that, that's going to give the cutback even more space. So you include Justin Strnad getting a little too close to that hash mark, as well as Von Miller opening up and getting around the tight end. That's what ends up making a huge play for Najee Harris. And as he crosses, Strnad just is out of position, playing catch up. If you can see the person you're trying to tackle's numbers, you're probably in a bad spot defensively. And that's what happened on that play to Justin Strnad and the rest of the Broncos defense.
Now, Coach Fangio has said that there's seemingly one special teams play each week that hurts this team. This week, it was a leverage penalty on Draymond Jones. A rare call, though, in the NFL.
Yeah, first time they called it all season, Alexis. And one of the things as well, when you do block kicks in the NFL, you typically have to get into what they call the crease. That's where this kicker is going to end up aiming. You want to get into the shoulder pads and turn the shoulders and get through. But what Draymond Jones tries to do is something we've seen Justin Simmons do, but Justin Simmons is maybe 50 to 100 pounds lighter. Who knows, right? But you don't want to jump over these linemen, and you can't put your hands, use any part of their body. So Draymond Jones is going to do that. But not only that, after he jumps, you're going to see this is a dangerous play for him. Draymond Jones means a lot to this defense, and right now he's got 6 feet that have cleats on the bottom of them that they're getting pressed back. That's a dangerous position. So not only did it cost the Broncos as the Steelers went on to score in this drive a touchdown, but it really put him in a dangerous place, and it was one of the many penalties that affected this game.
Yeah, right, and the Broncos cannot afford another injury right now.
Especially defensively, Alexis.
Especially defensively. Well, now let's check in on this final play. This is something that we love to see, and a lesson learned all in one. Javonte Williams with another angry run this week that should have set this team up for a touchdown, but instead they eventually had to settle for the field goal, given a penalty at the end.
Well, let's start with the positives, Alexis. It's always good to start with the positives. I love this play call by Pat Shurmur. First of all, you got the fullback who's going to be to the right of the offense. That's going to draw a lot of the attention. And even though defensive players won't say it, when they see a fullback to their side, they're expecting the ball to come that direction. Also, you're going to have Dalton Risner pulling left to right. I'll show you a little later on in the play. They completely confuse a linebacker. I always love seeing that as a lineman. But then this is going to be all Javonte Williams, and he gets into about a 40-yard track meet at the end of this play. So the play action is excellent, gets people moving, and then as Javonte Williams gets to the hash, he puts his foot down all the way up the field, and then he's not gonna, he got caught, but he's still got a couple extra yards. And then here is where everybody wants to say, wait, just don't. Javonte Williams, a little frustrated, he said, because he didn't get in the end zone. You're going to get another shot. You're going to be on the 2-yard line. But right here, you need to just bottle that frustration and give yourself a chance.
He also said that he didn't know that that was a rule in the NFL, that you cannot spike the ball if you do not score a touchdown.
Yeah, well, it is a rule. He got that coaching point now, and that really did hurt the team, Alexis, because then they had to start further from the goal line. Then they gave up a sack, ended up kicking the field goal. You love points, but you would have loved the touchdown even more. What I love from this angle, though, the end zone angle, this is what the linemen this is all we watch the film. This is the only way we watch film. But watch what this does. Watch what all the motion of Dalton Risner and the fullback does to number 8 here as the play goes on. He literally gets lost in the shuffle. This is what your parents are talking about when they tell you get lost in the shuffle. Because of the motion, he's going to get, I'm going that way. Oh, nope, I got fooled. And then boom. And I also, too, watch what happens here. You got 2 players. If you're Graham Glasgow, you want to make sure that you can get upfield. You want to get upfield, never turn back. That's something that they always teach linemen. Don't turn back. The play's going forward because you don't know what he would have been able to do coming out here. Get upfield. Give some more space for Javonte Williams to get there. He ultimately gets caught, but I love the play call. I love how it was executed. I just didn't love the penalty at the end.
8 carries for 61 yards for Javonte Williams. Hopefully we see him get even more opportunities this week with the Las Vegas Raiders coming to town. Ryan, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
All right, coming up after the break, Ryan will join Denver 7's Lionel Bienvenu and Troy Rank to discuss what the Broncos need to learn from these back-to-back losses with the hungry Las Vegas Raiders coming to town this week. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Broncos Country Connected. Playing with that sense of urgency we saw in the fourth quarter against the Steelers from the first snap this Sunday will be critical for the Denver Broncos as the Las Vegas Raiders make their way to the Mile High City, hoping to end a 2-game skid of their own. For more on how the Broncos can bounce back this week, here's Lionel Bienvenu and the Denver 7 crew.
Thanks, Alexis, and welcome to our Denver 7 segment brought to you by 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Broncos insider Troy Rank is here. Super Bowl 50 champ, former Broncos lineman Ryan Harris in the house as always too. Guys, the Broncos lost their second straight game last Sunday in Pittsburgh, but as of now, that's in the rearview mirror. Looming large in the distance, right there on the horizon, the Raiders. It's Raiders week, guys, one of the best rivalries in the NFL, and this time it's 2 teams that started 3-0, and now they're both 3-2. So Troy, Given all that, this has the makings of an all-out backyard brawl.
Yeah, it feels like a must-win game for both teams when you look at the AFC West, what the Chargers are doing, if you want to stay close to them in the standings. Also, it's a home game for the Broncos, and as you mentioned, it's a rivalry. Now, this rivalry has kind of moved around the last 20 years. It was so dominant by the Broncos forever with Coach Shanahan. Now it's more even in these two teams. I expect to throw the sawdust down. A great game, but yes, Lionel, it is Raiders week.
Ryan, there's no downplaying the importance of this game to the Broncos to come home, play the Raiders, as Troy said, a chance to go 4-2, get back on track. This one does feel like a must-win.
Well, and you want to dictate in your division who's the boss. And right now, the Broncos need to be the boss. And this is a rivalry that players really enjoy because you do have something that happens to you quickly if you're a Broncos player that makes you hate the Raiders. And I know it's a strong word, but that kind of rivalry exists. And right now, the Raiders are reeling. I mean, they have locker room issues. They had issues losing to the Bears last week. This is a big opportunity for the Broncos to say, we are going to be atop of the West, and you are going to be beneath us, and we're going to keep this rivalry going and give you something you don't like about the Broncos.
Put the hammer down on the Raiders. All right, Ryan, everybody has their favorite moment from this rivalry. You played against the Raiders in the Black Hole and at Mile High. What's your best moment from Broncos Raiders?
Well, it was my first start, Lionel, and in warm-ups, Chris Cooper, my guard, he and I worked together. He actually hit me so hard in warm-ups that I fell down behind me, and all the Raiders fans in that area were like, "Oh, Harris, we hope you're playing tonight." I was like, "Oh my God, I am." Is this a bad sign? Didn't give up a sack that night, but they were just right there to laugh at me when I was literally laying down, and Chris Cooper was like, "Sorry, man, sorry." I'm like, "Well, great. This is a great way to start my first game."
We all saw what happened in Pittsburgh, right? Now let's talk about what has to happen Sunday against the Raiders. Ryan, you think Javonte Williams and more of Noah Fant has to happen?
Absolutely. Javonte Williams was brilliant. He averaged over 7.6 yards per carry. I know some people are saying, hey, he had one big run of 49 yards, but he's also capable of that. You got to get Javonte Williams the ball more, and there's no excuse for not targeting Noah Fant, one of the top 5 tight ends in the NFL in the passing game. They didn't do it, Lionel, until the fourth quarter. That has to happen early and often, especially against the Raiders.
And Troy, the offense, 6 points through 3 quarters against the Steelers. Another slow start. Teddy Bridgewater said they got to get juice, urgency from the jump. What can they do to start faster?
Well, maybe Red Bull, maybe a shot of espresso. No, they have to have a sense of urgency. It is a mindset. But I would also look to be a little more creative early in games. Maybe go up-tempo within a drive. Use more motion. Try to confuse the defense. Look different, because what they've been doing the last couple weeks is not working, Lionel. So what I would do is integrate some up-tempo, maybe go pass, then run, because they got too predictable in that last game. So that's what I would look to do. Maybe integrate some up-tempo, maybe even some no-huddle.
No-huddle college style, and see what happens. Okay, all that said, Ryan, what is the one thing in your mind the Broncos need to do to come out with a W on Sunday?
Well, they got to start by not having a delay a game on the first play of the offense. That's inexcusable. But they have to stop the big play defensively. That's been an Achilles heel the last 2 weeks. The Raiders will score points with Darren Waller and others if the defense for the Broncos gives up big plays. They got to limit those big plays. If they do that, they'll be successful.
Offensively, they've got to get better in that first quarter. Right now, it's been a problem. So 2 things, Lionel. Better in the first quarter, if not first half, and third down conversions. Right now, they're at 28%. That number needs to look about 45%. I think they can do it.
All right, great stuff. Thanks, guys. Now, we've seen rookie cornerback Patrick Surtain II step right in and start making plays on the field immediately, quietly. He doesn't trash talk. His actions speak louder than words. But off the field, he really wants to talk to the fans. He wants you to get to know him with inside access to his life. Sports anchor Nick Rothschild shows us how.
I feel like a little kid.
It's the content you didn't know you needed. Pat Surtain at the amusement park.
Oh, no. Oh. When I went up there, man, I almost died.
That one, they caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting to be that high.
But why is the Broncos' first-round pick riding roller coasters on video?
I just think sometimes solely the fans base themselves around me as just a football player. So I just don't want to be labeled as that, So I just decided to make a YouTube channel, showing what I like to do off the field.
the Pat Surtain YouTube channel, and associated social media. A chance for PS2 to connect and interact directly with fans.
Daily vlogs or something like that, day in the lives. I know I can't do stuff really like going travel, at least I could do all that in the off season, but I always wanted to go to Italy or Paris or even Greece, something like that.
He doesn't need a bright-eyed sports reporter with great hair to help control his narrative. Surtain is a prototype of the modern athlete, wanting to tell his own story.
I think more and more you're gonna see athletes, grow their YouTube basis or grow their platform so the whole world can see what they like to do.
He hopes to show the world he's more than a football player and open up doors for when his playing career is over.
I just hope they get out, my other side, my bright side. Sometimes I be so focused on football, so dialed in. I just want fans to see what I like to do off the field, my character.
How would you describe that character?
Fun, adventurous, funny.
All I know is first place. Hop on top, get a scrap in a state.
Just don't get too good at this stuff, Pat. I still have bills to pay.
Couple trophies in the case. All I know is first.
Well, before you get sucked down the YouTube rabbit hole of Pat Surtain vlogs, be sure to stick with us for this final segment of Broncos Country Connected as we show you the unique way the Denver Broncos cheerleaders paid homage to the artisans of León during Latino Heritage Month. Thanks for joining us for this final segment of Broncos Country Connected. The iconic white boots worn by the Denver Broncos cheerleaders have been handcrafted by Freebird, a Denver-based company that prides itself on craftsmanship, quality, and the artisanal value that goes into creating every single pair. For Latino Heritage Month, the Denver Broncos cheerleaders and Freebird teamed up with the incredible artisans of León, Guanajuato, Mexico to celebrate Latino culture in a wearable way.
The Hispanic community is extremely important to the Denver Broncos just simply because of the demographic makeup of Denver and Colorado. The Denver Broncos are unique in that we're constantly looking for ways to connect with our Hispanic and Latino fan base year-round. Some of the ways that the Broncos have celebrated Hispanic Heritage Awareness Month over the last 5 years has really been through the avenue of arts and culture. And that started from just realizing that in this community, the arts are extremely important. And so for the last 5 years, we have looked for various projects in which we will either commission or collaborate with artists to connect both Mexican art and football. Mexico is a very special place, and in looking for ways to bring awareness into culture, one cannot do that without sharing a little bit about shoemaking, specifically in León, Guanajuato, which is known for that. And so I think that for our director of cheer, it was, when she saw some of the other projects that we did, she said, could we do something with the boot?
The Broncos came to us and showed us some artisanal pieces that were being made up. Honestly, I think they were going to auction them off, like an amazing Bronco helmet with all this hand beadwork on there. So they wanted to do something special for the custom boots we were making for them. So I presented it to our design team in the factory, and they were beyond ecstatic to get involved. So, I mean, this was not even one or two people. This was the entire team kind of collaborating together. They brought in their own hand pieces of long skirts with all the different embroidery on there. How can we take this and put it on a special boot for the Broncos?
If you're really true about collaboration, you have to let go. We do provide for some creative freedom, and I think that that's extremely important for an artist, regardless of your craft.
This is something that can't be rushed. Each pair is probably around 8 to 10 hours. There are so many different processes and so many people involved along the way. It's probably been one of the biggest challenges as Freebird has grown, is how can we try to meet demand without losing who we are and keeping things done by hand. It really is, it's a true craft. It's something that we can't really mass produce.
If you're familiar with just things that you find in Mexico when you travel, right? Embroidery is such a big part of the culture. And so why not connect something that you're able to showcase and how, the craftsmanship of a shoe being made. It's not machines, it's an individual doing them. with the piece that everybody is so familiar with, which embroidery. And you get this beautiful boot that, our Denver Broncos cheerleaders got to wear.
Honestly, it was a little bit emotional at first, just because being a part of the Latina culture and being able to, wear these boots, it was just overwhelming a little bit. They were so beautiful, and just you could tell that they were so detailed and so much time went into them. So it was a little bit emotional and just exciting.
The heritage of making boots in León is very important to the team. León's a very industrial town, known for their shoes. Like hundreds of years, some of the best shoe factories, boot factories specifically, are based in León. And they wanted to take the same pride that we make in every single pair to do something special. There's a lot of ties to the Colorado area and Denver specifically in León. Now when you say Denver Broncos, they almost feel like they're a native too. They feel like they're part of the team.
I would just like to say to the artisans, thank you so much. We are so grateful. We are blessed that we were able to, wear these boots, and we're just so thankful that they put the time and the hours and the work and dedication to make such, an impact on Latino American heritage.
While the embroidered boots were made exclusively for the Denver Broncos cheerleaders, every pair of Freebird boots are handcrafted with passion by the artisans of León. Get your own one-of-a-kind pair at Freebird or online at freebirdstores.com. That's all the time we have for this week's edition of Broncos Country Connected. For all of us here at the Denver Broncos and Denver 7, thanks for watching.